Hey everyone, just want to take a moment and tell you guys our story. How did the Happy Book Stack come to be? I get asked that from time to time, and I'm very glad that people actually care about that. Because one thing that does pain me, just kind of looking and being involved in different communities now, is there's not that many small businesses anymore. So, and honestly, most small businesses you see are in something like the service industry. Might be a plumber, might be a construction person. You don't see a lot of retail anymore. And I know why. It's like a retail store is very, very hard to have and very, very hard to make work. So it's like in times past, you used to go into your local grocery store that was privately owned, go find some groceries. You used to go into your local tool shop, you used to go into your local restaurants, things like that. And it's not that when things become commercialized, they get bad. They're just definitely different, right? You lose the hometown feel, you lose the personality, you lose people that live in the same community that they're working in, that they care about, that they have ownership, things like that. So like, it pains me to see that. So like, I'm very glad that you guys care. It's like, how and why did this story begin? So the Happy Book Stack, I didn't set out to start a bookstore when I got involved in the book business. And even though I got my degree in English and I started studying in college with business, I never intended to even open up a bookstore. That wasn't my idea. I studied English so that I could write, so that I could learn how to articulate myself a bit better. And worst case scenario, I could fall back on teaching, which I would love teaching. I love to teach, but I wanted expression. In business, I kind of quit studying business, and again, this is not good advice per se. It's like I only need a degree in business if I'm going to work for someone else. That way, I can show it on my resume. If I'm going to have my own business, which I knew that I wanted to in some shape or form, it's like it's more important that I have the skills than than paper. So we can go more into that later. So I've always been someone who's enjoyed thrifting, and always been someone who enjoys like finding something to sell. I've always been kind of a salesman at heart in that way. No pressure sales. I want to have a good product that people are looking for and they want to buy. If I have it at the right price, they'll buy it. No pushy sales, nothing like that. So I've always been into that. So like after I graduated college, I met my wife, and my wife had previously been a stay-at-home mom. And one thing she did, just kind of for side income, like so many people do, is she would go out and thrift clothes. She'd take those clothes and she'd list them on eBay and places like that, and just sell them, just make kind of a nominal income. But it's something that she could go out, one day a week or so, and go source, and then spend some evenings listing, and then you ship your orders when they sell, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like it's an honest living, something that's been around for a long time. Secondhand markets, and at that time, I was teaching English online to Chinese students, and I was selling things. I'd go to like some liquidation outlets and buy things like brand new mattresses, treadmills, crazy things like that. I'd sell on Facebook Marketplace and and things I'd ship on eBay and stuff like that. So when I learned from her, it's like you actually go and thrift the same item. It's easy to store. You're not selling it locally. You're selling it nationally. It's kind of like an input-output machine that could work at scale versus me going and finding individual items time and time again and trying to sell those. So I liked it because it's very linear. It's different than what I was doing. So needless to say, I started to get into buying and selling used clothes. I'd teach English in the mornings, really early in the morning, and then I'd go out and I would thrift clothes, and I'd come back home and list those things. And while I was doing that, I saw people that were buying books, and they really intrigued me because I had some of the same thoughts that I'm sure many of you guys have. It's like, is there still an audience for books? Are there still people buying those? And if they are buying those, where? Like, doesn't Amazon have that game completely wrapped up? I started kind of talking to them, and I started to kind of dip my toes into that. So I was doing clothes, and I was trying to figure out how to buy books, how to sell books. So it took me a little while, but I started to sell books online, and then before long, I started to not do clothes anymore. Because with books, I could books. I mean, you can if you can fit clothes in a small area, you can fit tons and tons of books in a small area. So I used to ship some books to Amazon for them to hold and sell for me, like through Amazon Prime. And I started to ship some from my house, and I loved it. It was a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, and there's a huge steep learning curve with it, and it's very competitive, even more so competitive now. I started to sell books online. I'd go and drive an hour or two, 3 hours every day, back and forth all over the world, finding books, go home, list them online, and ship them when they sell. Rinse and repeat. I started to do that 6, even 7 days a week, which I don't recommend. But I was trying to provide for my family, trying to figure something out. Really starting my own business without knowing it. And I did that for about 2.5 years before the Happy Book Stack opened. Let me tell you how that came about. So when I was in college, I started to attend a small church that a friend recommended called the Water's Edge Church. And it's still like my best friend today is the pastor of that church. And he and I hit it off really, really well. And we used to travel to Nicaragua together and go do ministry down there with youth and churches down there and things like that. And we were a small church, so like he and I started kind of taking over the leadership position together, and we would take turns preaching and things like that. And I really enjoyed the small community feel of it. And kind of like during COVID, we were just kind of able to see it's like, okay, a lot of our goals with this is ministry and reaching out to the public and putting our money where our mouth is and helping those who are less fortunate, things like that. We could see and we could tell. It's like that's something that's really missing in the church itself. The church sometimes is this giant structure, very centralized, and like it can have lots of money flowing in, not much flowing out, lots of people tying up hours in it, not a lot getting done. So we didn't want to be that. We were kind of at that level of size where it's like almost all of our money is going just to pay rent when we want to do these good things with it. It's like there's so many churches around here. Like, why don't we just for this season go back into just being a house church? COVID kind of complicated things anyway, and let's just shuck this rent off of us where we can do things that we feel are more important. So as we made that transition, and as I helped to kind of lead that transition with him, the space that we were in became available just as a default, and I couldn't help but think that maybe, just maybe, I could open a bookstore up in there, because as we were phasing this out, just kind of help offset the rent, kind of help me out too. It's like I started to do my online operation in the back part of the church, and the church would meet in the front. It's kind of when we were smaller before we went completely house church. So it's kind of like I already had lots and lots of books in there, and the thing with selling books online is that there's only a small percentage of books that still work to sell online. There's lots of them out there because there's just so many books out there. People don't even understand. There's millions of books that have been written. I know that sounds crazy, but millions of books that have been written. So it's kind of like I can only sell 5% of what I was getting in online, but some of those might work for a bookstore. So just from a financial and just business standpoint, I was like, I think I already might own most of the books I need to open up a store. So before I kind of got tied into a lease, it was kind of in like a month-to-month period. I was like, let me try this thing out. Just let me try it. So me and my guy that's been with me kind of from the beginning of having a bookstore, Weston, we went and sourced shelves off Marketplace. We started to kind of sort our books that we were getting in. Say, hey, save these for the bookstore, and these can go online. And we saved it up, and we looked around, and we found a bookstore software we thought would work. Started just listing books, boxing them up in boxes. I haphazardly figured out what it would take to open up in a public place, like as far as city regulations and things like that, and we just put bookshelves on the wall. I went and bought some media racks off Marketplace. When I was going to a big bookstore called McKay's in Nashville, they had some checkout counters on the sidewalk for sale for like $12 a piece. Those are still the checkout counters that we use today. So one foot in front of the other, we kind of got all the pieces we needed to open up a store. So we opened up the store. And I tell you, I mean, we're hidden. We're still hidden. We're right behind the DMV, off of the main road. You've got to know where we are to find us. Like I started just blasting our name out there everywhere, every which way that I could, and you guys came. You guys came, and you guys told your friends, and you guys came in and traded your books with us, and kind of like that circular type economy. You guys have kept us going. So you guys have started finding your books with us. You guys give us the books we need to sell in the future. Because I mean, this is kind of one of those things where it's like week to week. It's like we get in a lot of books and we sell a decent amount of books, and it's all because you guys come in. It's all because you guys trade your books with us. That's all of our inventory that we get pretty much is from you guys. So like it's completely ran by the community, and really just employees and me. Like we're just stewards of that. It's this awesome reciprocal thing, and I love it. So it started because I had something in me that drove me into business and drove me into loving community. And we just so happened to have a building, and we jumped at the opportunity. It's like, was the time perfectly right? No. Did I have a lot of money in my bank account? Absolutely not. Did I need it to work? Yes, I did. And that's kind of the magic in it, right? There's all these stores around. There's these big box stores that sell new books, and we're in a decent sized town. We're hidden, but because we offer used books, and because the public can come in and trade with us, it's like you guys choose to do business with us, and we absolutely love it. It takes a lot of transactions every week to pay our bills and to pay our employees. It takes a lot of people coming in for that to happen, and because of you guys, it does happen. I love to see it. It's like we're not some big institution sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars where we don't need this to work, where it doesn't take a whole village to make this work. But it's like this bookstore, this locally owned, locally grown bookstore is sustained by each one of you guys. It's amazing. So let me just briefly say where the Heavy Book Stack is planning to go. I'm going to do a whole video on this, but right now, as many of you know, we have a location in Pleasant Grove, Utah, a location in McKinsey, Tennessee, a location in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Right now, we have a warehouse that we're expanding into, and we've added about 25,000 books online. So in a sense, like we're trying to grow a national brand now, not to be a national, like impersonal chain, but to have a greater offering of books to the public, to have used books at great prices that anyone anywhere can buy. And on the back of that, I plan, instead of throwing thousands and thousands of dollars into advertising, like on Google, and them taking all my money, I plan on creating media and content, things that are good for the world, and letting that advertise itself. Is it idealistic? Yes. It will take a lot of work. Absolutely. Can it work? It can. And I trust and hope that it will. So that's just kind of my heart. That's why the store opened. That's how the store opened. I want to open as many stores as possible, not so that I can be wealthy. And I really put all the money the business makes and even more back into it, because I believe what we're building is important. I believe it's going to be increasingly important. And it's become my life's work and my life's cause. And it's the same thing for so many of our employees here at the stores. I really see myself as a steward of it rather than an owner of it. And just appreciate you guys for all of your support. Any questions, reach out in the comments or email me at happybookstack@gmail.com. I love talking and meeting with so many of you guys. If you're listening to this and you're not in Tennessee, then please check out our website. And please follow us and help support us. We're trying to grow something very special. And you guys have a great day, and we'll talk later.